They're eating the dogs, Kieran, in Tuscaloosa.
They're eating the
Do you
dogs.
know that?
They were
They're
eating
the dogs.
Oh, a meth raccoon.
Yeah.
Just awful. There is nothing good about this. It's the worst possible scenario for the CFP, for the national championship.
Notre Dame is a mid-program with really good marketing.
And the Michigan players are going to look at that, and anybody who's committing to Michigan in the next years and just go, I want to beat them even more. Like, I wanted to beat them when I first came to this school. Recruits are going to see this.
And we're also sorry that you have to watch a Brian Kelly coach football team. We can only imagine how difficult that must be for you, knowing that you're not going to win a big game ever with him as your coach, and that you're rooting for a child murderer.
This podcast has gone off to a really weird start, but I like it.
I love it, though. I'm a big fan. I said I was going to change the intro. I didn't, because if you missed our show last week, go listen to it. I'm big on rights. And it is my First Amendment right to say Brian Kelly murdered I don't know if I can say murdered. That might actually get us sued for defamation, libel.
Mm-hmm.
But you have rights. And don't ever forget that. Don't let the man take them away. Exercise those rights. Kieran, how are you doing?
I'm good. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to flat out go political, I guess, just right off the bat. We have college football to talk about, but that's more of a minor topic this week.
Hey, Kieran, nothing is more important than life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
I agree, but I think the pursuit of happiness people are trying to achieve here is listening to college football, not you go on a political rant about whatever.
If I can't talk about our rights we have afforded to us by the United States Constitution due to our founding fathers, then I don't want to talk at all. So,
a man with conviction. He's muted himself. He's going. He's done with this podcast. I've scared him off.
I wouldn't say scared me off. I'm saying, like, if I can't talk about these truths that are self-evident and we hold dear, then, like, what's the point?
I agree.
What's the point, Kieran? This is already off to a weird start. How's your week going?
Week's going. It's going. That's all I can say about that. Excited for March Madness, more March Madness this weekend, and looking forward to the NFL draft to see where our boys of yesteryear will go.
That's true, and we will be doing a mock draft tonight, so that'll be fun. We're also idiots. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
So if you're like, my team would never take him in the 5th overall pick. Well, your team's also probably full of idiots. You're picking 5th overall. So who knows? Maybe we're smarter than your team. We'll figure that out. But NFL draft, a lot of movement going on. Guys leaving their college towns to move somewhere else in the country. One college, St. Francis, is making a different kind of move. Moving from the D1 level, they are an FCS football school, and they were just in March Madness, moving down to Division III football's finest. Kieran, what were your first thoughts when you saw this move?
I thought that it was kind of wild, given that we had were discussing topics for the next week, and then this news. I mean, it was broken recently, right? Like within the last week or so.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny that we actually discussed topics being dropped and this all happens. But my other thought was exactly what you had said, which was Division III football's finest. And it just reminded me of that movie with Andy Dick. And if none of you have seen it, go find it. It is the single funniest, stupidest movie you'll ever watch.
Kieran, I'm glad you got that reference, and that's why we're such good friends, and that's why we have a podcast together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I think it's an interesting move. I don't think this is the last team we're going to see making this move. I think with NIL, with all the transfer portal stuff, I think football for a lot of schools has gotten too expensive to maintain, and I think this might be the better alternative than teams folding because football got too expensive. I mean, you have Hofstra, a lot of Northeast schools, Vermont in the 70s, you had BU with football programs. They all became too expensive, so they stopped. I think it sucks losing a D1 program, especially for a lot of high school kids who are, I don't want to say fringe because they would have been D1 athletes, but maybe not good enough for the FBS level, but going to FCS. It sucks to see, especially coming off a March Madness appearance.
Well, you have strengths and weaknesses at different colleges. I mean, for example, Penn State just won the national championship for wrestling, for men's wrestling, that is. But we couldn't string together a basketball team if our lives depended on it. So both D1 athletes, one is incredibly good, the other is absolutely terrible. So it's really a dichotomy of where you funnel your resources. I mean, don't get me wrong, coaches have huge impacts on how players play, and the right coach and the right system with the right AD, it all has to work out magically. But you can build upon success, or in St. Francis' case, you actually are mitigating your losses. So I think it's a good idea for smaller schools like this to remove part of their remove resources from one failing enterprise and push them into another. I'm sure it's going to free up a lot of capital. They can reinvest throughout the athletic department and things like that.
I mean, it's probably also going to lose capital because they're not moving like their football program to D3. It's everything.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that resources will become available.
Yeah, because then they won't have to worry about NIL and all that.
Exactly.
That's true. But another March Madness, I don't want to say team because they were there for a cup of coffee, just like St. Francis, but Grand Canyon University, their president was asked about kind of if they're going to get a football team at some point, if like how they decide or how they felt about just being basketball centered. And he said, people ask me all the time, are you going to start a football program? The bottom line is that 90% of the universities that have football lose a lot of money. When 80% of the NIL has to go to football, there's not a lot left for other sports. So if you're a basketball person, going to a school that doesn't have football puts you in a position from a resource standpoint that other so-called mid-major schools aren't going to have. I have interesting thoughts on this, but Kieran, do you think he's wrong? Do you have anything else that you kind of disagree with him on?
No, I mean, I think he's absolutely right when it comes to the NIL and football and it being the dominant sport, at least in college football. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of sports that have incredible fan bases, but nothing really compares to college football in terms of its grandiose. So I think I would say, at least in terms of Grand Canyon University, it's a smart move. There's no point of trying to gather a program with essentially an already flooded market. It wouldn't make any sense. You can focus like kind of with St. Francis, you can focus your resources on your basketball team. They've made it to March Madness before. They had a little bit of a Cinderella run. What was it, like 3-4 years ago, something like that, whatever it was. Like, focus your resources on things that you're already good at. Don't waste time trying to add additional things onto it, finding coaches that might not be the best fit, that are just looking for a stopping off point or a stepping stone or anything like that. Screw it. Just go with what you already have and work on that. That's what I think he should do, and he is.
I think Brian Mueller's a coward.
Oh, here we go.
He's a coward. Look, starting a football program is hard. That's why people don't do it a lot. Kennesaw State did it. Look at them. They're at the D1 level. Now, they kind of got their teeth kicked in at the D1 level or at the FBS level, but they did the hard work. Brian Mueller, I don't care. You're a coward. But NIL money. You are a publicly traded institution. Oh, we don't have enough money. Okay, sell some more stocks. Sell some more shares of Grand Canyon Education Incorporated. They have a page on their website dedicated to their investors, and they're going to whine about NIL money. No, have a football team. Have any sort of team you can to get more eyes on, to get more money in. Look, if you become a good football program, you're going to get more money in from investors, from TV deals. If you want to be primarily a basketball school, like, oh, football programs, they get all the attention, all the stuff. Have you ever heard of a little school called Duke University? Have you ever heard of University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, University of Kentucky? These schools are basketball schools that also have a side gig as a football program. So, Brian, stop being a coward, put on your big boy pants, sell some shares, and start a football team. There is an opening at the D1 level with St. Francis going away.
I appreciate what you're trying to achieve there with that sentiment, but on the flip side, stick to what you're good at. If basketball is your thing and investors see that, hey, we're doubling down on basketball. And first of all, this is a weird topic for me. I never thought about a university being a publicly traded company. It's a
I
private.
thought the government shut all those down with ITT Tech.
No, I mean, it's right here. It's a private for-profit Christian university in Phoenix, Arizona. So there's that. But to that end, you said like the likes of Duke and UNC. Those schools have a much longer history than Grand Canyon University. So it was established. Grand Canyon was established in 1949. So it's not that old. Yeah, it's a grandfather at this point, in terms of human years, but like it's not I'm not even going to say blue blood because that gives the horrible indication that UNC might be a blue blood, which it absolutely isn't. But I'm just saying that stick to what you're good at, right? There's no need to introduce another massive risk factor. If anything, investors should look at the doubling down on basketball or anything that they're already good at as, this is a safe, steady investment, not a blow it all on a risky venture with football that you're just going to get crushed in. Kennesaw State did it. Sure. They got lucky, whatever, but it's a massive gamble. No investor's going to take that and run with it.
That's a valid point. However, Kieran, you stick to what you're good at. 2-3
They're
times.
not good at much.
That's true. They're okay at basketball. Karen, I'm going to take you back to the year 1964.
Oh, boy.
When Blue Ribbon Sports was founded, and they dominated the running market. They were making shoes for track athletes. They were working on making shoes and got pretty popular with the jogging trend of the 80s. And now they're worth $97.24 billion. Because they did not stick to what they were good at. They were actually dog shit at what they are now known for. I'm talking about Nike. They were not a basketball company. They had minuscule budgets. They could go, well, like top 5 picks, we're not going to be able to sign anyone to our brand. So let's go 6, 7, 30. Who cares? And then they signed Michael Jordan. A bold move that made them all rich as hell. Sometimes, Kieran, you have to take risks. You have to get out of your comfort zone because, ho-hum, Grand Canyon Education trading at $173 per share. It hasn't really... Okay, it's actually been growing kind of steadily for the last couple of years. That doesn't go with my point, though. But if you want those numbers,
I'm going to ignore a fact and move on.
That fact does not support my take, so we're gonna pretend we're gonna edit that part out. If you want those numbers to skyrocket to the moon, Kieran, you get a basketball program or a football program. They already have a basketball program. Get rid of the basketball program. Just start a football team. No, don't do that. But
alternatively, I will grant you, risks sometimes do pay off in the likes of Nike and whatnot. I will also say the amount of cocaine that is used in these executive decision-making are no longer legal or very much frowned upon by HR. And these are big air quotations. In the 80s, you could do whatever the hell you wanted. In 2025, you cannot. So I don't think people are going to be taking the risk that you suggest they should.
That's true. Although, Kieran, Grand Canyon University is pretty close to the Mexico border.
I'm sure it is.
So the cocaine might not be an issue. So Brian, go down to Mexico, get yourself some cocaine, and start a football program. Damn it. Yeah, he's a coward.
Yeah, okay.
I could probably give a more nuanced take about this, but I don't feel like it. Some people would call me stupid. I would say I'm at least smarter than the NCAA transfer window.
There you go.
For those who don't know, the transfer window, they have two of them, one in the fall, one in the spring. Both start during their biggest sports playoffs. Obviously, the college football playoff, their transfer portal opens after like the second round, I think now. Maybe the first even. And then basketball, their transfer portal opened last week. What's the fix, Kieran?
What do you mean, what's the fix?
Well, how can the NCAA do something smart for the first time in its existence and fix the transfer portal window?
Very simple. After the national championship, you open the transfer portal. That's it. It's really not hard.
Yeah. That's
the easiest thing. And why they're not doing it, I will never know.
Yeah, that's actually was going to be my take. I was talking to my wife over dinner about it, actually. She's probably thrilled that she has decided to marry someone who we're talking about the college sports transfer window over dinner. But
a man dedicated to his craft.
Exactly. No, so you get rid of the fall and the spring transfer windows. Those don't exist anymore. You have your football transfer window, your basketball, your baseball, your lacrosse, your hockey, whatever. It goes the national championship 1 week. So that it's still no transferring within that week. So you can decompress. If you lose in a heartbreaking fashion, you don't overreact suddenly and transfer out. And then it goes until like a week before the next season's practices start.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
I think it gives a good window. People can make informed decisions, and you can get, obviously, if you do transfer like the week before these practices start, you're not going to have a lot of time to acclimate, but you have a little time. And if you've made this thoughtful decision that this amount of time would allow, everyone will be happy.
And to that end, you can try your luck in the transfer portal, maybe after you have a crushing, heartbreaking loss. And you can go, I know you can reflect on where you've come in the year, and you just go, actually, I think I should stay here, right? My emotions were high. I wasn't thinking clearly. And I have realized that what I was thinking, just getting out of Dodge, doing whatever to clear my head, wasn't actually the best option. And I will have more success next year staying where I am. And you also avoid all of those situations.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to go to this. I agree a transfer window was needed. I don't know why they decided just to do two.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think it was a panic decision. They're like, oh my God, everything's on fire. Quick, we need something. And then they decided to just flood their home instead of grabbing the fire extinguisher.
Surely this will work.
Yeah, it's no shit, my house is on fire. Let's break open the dam instead of, hey, bucket of water. Problem solved. So, yeah, it could be. It's wishful thinking the NCAA will do something smart. It seems as of late, the only time they do something they should be doing is when a court forces them to, which they did this past week. The NCAA has reached a settlement where they will be distributing $3 billion to former players, and there are stipulations on that. Your grandfather who played in the 1945 national championship is not going to be eligible for money. It's going to be more recent than that. But also, it does open up revenue sharing for players with more than $20 million per school to be going to active athletes. Final approval is going to be coming April 7th, barring any changes. Revenue sharing is going to start July 1st. It's about time. I think with the way NIL has sort of developed and progressed, I think it's disgusting what has happened. This is not what it was intended for, but that's because the NCAA dragged their feet on all this, which is why they now have to pay $3 billion to former athletes. But how it is now, I think revenue sharing was the next logical step. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it makes the most sense. And this is, I want to say, this is becoming suspiciously like the English Premier League, or actually just soccer leagues in Europe, because you're getting to the point of transfer windows. You're getting to the point of revenue sharing, paying athletes, dropping down divisions, FBS and FCS, Champions League and Premier League, Liga, and, the Bundesliga and all that sort of stuff. And it's amalgamating to an almost like the bottom three out, or get relegated to the division below, sort of situation, which is kind of interesting to see, just because it's going that direction without necessarily that end goal, that like European Soccer League end goal kind of being the target. It's more just naturally progressing that way, which is also interesting to see. I mean, it's weird.
That's true. We do hear a lot about how college football is starting to become more like professional football in the NFL model. But no, I didn't think about that, Karen. It is going after the more professional football model.
Yes.
Non-consensual relegation would be hilarious in college football, by the way.
What do you mean by non-consensual?
So
you just pick three guys and just go, that's it, you're done.
No.
Bang.
Now in college football, if you're going to drop down to a lower tier, your school has to be on board with it. It's not like, hey, you only won one game in the SEC last year. Get ready to learn ACC, buddy, or get ready to learn Sun Belt. Hey, you 2 games in the SEC last year. Y'all suck, Vandy.
Some random Big 12 team, get ready to learn Maction, buddy.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be so electric. Wait, why aren't we the head of the NCAA? We have such brilliant ideas that would make this a hell of a lot more fun.
The minute you told someone from Alabama, hey, we're actually adding promotion and relegation, like European soccer, they would shoot us before we even got the last word out. We'd be done.
No. We don't. They wouldn't even know what European soccer relegation is.
They might, Kieran. The World Cup's this year.
Yeah, but that's qualifying you're in.
And they saw the coverage, some World Cup coverage, because it was the lead into Feinbaum. So they might know. But
the dangerous game.
I think it would also be difficult, though, because the SEC kind of needs Vanderbilt to raise the average GPA of the conference.
Oh, we're well past needing a GPA, buddy.
That's true.
Vanderbilt is in the SEC for one reason and one reason only: baseball.
Baseball, yeah. That's true. No, the SEC is weirdly really good. I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
I always think it's crazy. Not crazy, but they're really just becoming an everything conference.
All-rounder.
14 teams in March Madness. Like 5 of the last 6 baseball national champions come from the SEC. In football, it's a weird year when an SEC team is not playing in the national championship.
It is. What does the world come to?
We just need to get hockey now. Gary Bettman would give all his money to get hockey into the SEC so he could put a team in Birmingham. That's his end goal.
You'd
But
have very stiff competition from the Northeast.
oh yeah, no, it's. I think who's the
Alabama would be the Kennesaw State of hockey if they came in and tried to win.
Hey,
Actually,
our
that's not even
club
true.
hockey
That's not even,
team.
yeah, I was gonna say you guys are actually not bad.
Yeah, we're not terrible.
Yeah, no, it was a mean comment.
Yeah, these people
Kennesaw
work hard.
State, you guys suck. No, I'm.
That's fair. But yeah, so just get hockey and we'll be great. I don't think we'll ever get lacrosse. That's a prep white boy thing. But moving on to no more well, we're actually going to talk about administrative stuff later, but to lighten it up a little bit, we're doing draft stuff later, but Kieran, did you see anything about any of the pro days?
I'll be honest, was very limited.
Miami receiver Xavier Restrepo just became undraftable. He ran a 4.83 at Miami's pro day. And maybe he's a big receiver. No, he's 5'10", 209 pounds. He should not be running a 4.83. For comparison,
I would be confident. I'd be confident I could get close to that time right now.
I don't think I could right now, but I think I could if I were, a D1 athlete training to go to the NFL.
Yeah. Stock price plummeted.
Yeah. Also, Jalen Carter ran a 4.67 in his 40 time. Reminder, Jalen Carter is 6'3", 314 pounds.
That's
and he
insane.
outran Xavier Restrepo. And I wasn't sure about Cam Ward as an NFL prospect. Nothing against him, not NFL prospect, as the number one overall pick. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the Titans have a lot of holes. They're going to be tanking for Arch next year to get a Manning back in town. But then I saw he's throwing balls to Xavier Restrepo and the geriatric Cam McCormick, who's been in college since the Clinton administration and number one overall pick. If you don't have the number one overall pick, trade your next 10 to Tennessee to get him. Future first ballot Hall of Famer. But yeah, Kieran, did you have any thoughts on his 40 time? Any other thoughts?
No. That was a what we call quick hitter, because frankly, it's laughable. We've done our piece, and I'm sure, or I would love to see if he was just completely sandbagging it, when he gets to actual combine or whatever he does, that he's just insanely quick, or all of his tapes they're all just lies, and he actually shows up to practice after being drafted and he's just insanely quick.
That's true. But that'd be nice. That'd be funny, actually. Tank his draft stock so he goes to a good team.
Yeah, exactly.
People who don't, though, have any issues with their speed, Georgia football players. For those who did not see, last week, offensive lineman Marcus Easley and wide receiver Nitro Tuggle were suspended indefinitely by the team after their driving arrests. I almost said drunk driving arrests, just out of habit. They were not drunk. To my knowledge, they were just speeding like Georgia players do. Nitro Tuggle was going 107 miles per hour, and Marcus Easley crashed into an apartment complex. So I'm not going to say anything about Marcus Easley. I think a terrible, unsafe, par for the course, for Georgia football currently. But you have a guy named Nitro on your team. Why did you give him a fast car?
Yeah.
He should be driving a 2004 PT Cruiser.
Yeah.
That could not reach over, put a governor on it, make it so it kick over 40.
Yeah. And 14 cinder blocks in the back to slow him down.
Yeah. No, pick your 3 heaviest players in the team. Nitro, You're driving them everywhere.
I we're going to get to the point where if you say at any point in your career, oh yeah, I went to the University of Georgia, you simply won't be able to get auto insurance. That just be like, no, I'm sorry. You guys have a reputation.
Someone's applying to be a school bus driver or something who went to Georgia. Sees name University of Georgia right in the shredder.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Then they get the email. Oh, well, we'll keep your resume on file.
Yeah.
You're using it to warm their home and their fireplace as they type it. Yeah, no, it's bad.
It's really bad. I don't understand how this keeps happening. Like, I 100% understand. You get your I don't want to say you get your license because that's like 2 years prior, but like you have money now, you can go out and get a car, you can pay the payment on it each month, whatever, or it's given to you as an NIL gift, whatever, and you want to drive a cool car fast. I totally understand it, but this is ridiculous. This is getting to a point where this is like, I mean, somebody's going to get killed. I mean, someone has gotten killed.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's only a matter of time before more happen. You'd think, God, no one's done it since. It's...
Since Jalen Carter did it.
Yeah.
Also, this is from Football Forever on Instagram. Since January 2023, at least 25 Georgia football players have faced arrests related to speeding, DUI, or reckless driving.
Oh, good God.
So we're averaging about 12 a year, which is not great.
No. You wouldn't see that under Nick Saban, would you?
No, it would all be swept under the rug.
Oh, gosh. That's even worse.
I mean, well, so Alabama had a thing like, yeah, we handle all our stuff in-house. So then the NCAA never came sniffing around. So like, well, they're doing what they should. They're punishing these players, so we're fine. But yeah, it's not great. Also, I don't want to take this time to bash Kirby Smart. I don't think this is inherently a him problem. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's like Urban Meyer, just letting players do whatever the hell they want when they're not at the facility. But I think Alabama was very much like, we are watching you. You are always going to have someone within 5 minutes of you who will come and get your ass. And it worked. And I'm sure there was some stuff that kind of got swept under the rug, but I think it was probably more minor stuff. I don't think it was 107 miles per hour.
Yeah. If you get caught like doing 45 and a 35 or something, I don't care that much, right? You're able to break in time. You might have got a ticket or a citation or something, but that's like, whatever. But 107, like, as far as I'm aware, the highest speed limit in the US is 70 or 75, maybe. As far as I'm aware. I could be wrong.
Montana might be higher.
Might be 80. Well, there's nothing there to hit. So, I mean.
85 somewhere.
Okay. Well, even still, right? That's
it's Texas. It's 85 in Texas.
Yeah, that makes sense too. But even still, that's, 20, 30 miles an hour above an 85 mile an hour speed limit.
I will say he was on a highway at least.
Yeah, but it that's still fast,
Kieran, can I admit something?
Yeah, go on.
I've driven that fast.
Highest I've gotten was 95, and then my car started shaking, so I stopped.
That's fair. So yeah, Georgia, figure it out. I don't care if you need to pay for sign an NIL deal with the local driving school.
Yeah, there you go.
Problem solved. And you don't have to pay the players. Like, don't tell the driving school, hey, it's going to cost you like this much. Like, hey, we will advertise for you guys if you just teach our players smart driving. We just fixed Georgia football.
As we do most things.
Yeah, we're we should really, really be in charge of something.
Anything.
We have great ideas. Kieran, you want to fix Stanford football as well?
Yeah, just have Andrew
Do
Luck
not, first off, hire Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Second off, do not hire a coach who mistreats his female staffers. Fix it. Fix Stanford. Coach Troy Taylor was fired this week by Andrew Luck, who's the general manager of the team now, for his mistreatment of staffers, primarily female staffers. I don't like the word female. I feel weird saying it, but that's like how it's how it's reported. So I'm going to use that word. And it was not anything inherently inappropriate in nature. It was just more dismissive, kind of being a dick. So, I mean, good for Stanford, I guess. I don't want to say, I guess. Good for Stanford for kind of making a stand against this. It's good to see that some schools are morally upstanding citizens or have morally upstanding citizens. Kieran, what were your thoughts on Troy Taylor's firing?
Yeah, I think it's the right move for Stanford as a whole. I mean, it doesn't, they're not necessarily like a football powerhouse or whatever, but I do think that I think it's a good thing that they're just being upstanding with their values or whatever, and it's not like, and it's not like this was something happened but there's no like evidence for it type thing, and it was just a reactionary firing. He was investigated multiple times for this, so I think this is the third investigation now. And it's like, okay, at this point, you are now becoming a problem within our organization. Like you need to be gone. So I think that after say 2 investigations, you should be putting it, either completely change your approach of how you deal with people in your office, or you're going to be let go.
Yeah. And also, I don't want to toot Stanford's horn too much. He did go 3-9 the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
You'd think if he was a better coach, they probably would have swept this under the rug and ignored it. But no, he was a bad coach. So you can't do that stuff when you're a bad coach.
Yeah.
When you're a really good coach, you could probably get away with a lot of this. Not saying right
not saying
or
that
wrong.
You should.
I'm not saying I agree with any of it.
Yeah.
I think if you do bad stuff, you should be reprimanded for it. You should be fired if it's bad enough. But the fact, like, let's say it comes out tomorrow that Kirby Smart was berating female staffers. Do you think he'd be fired?
Not right away.
No. I think if it was only berating, he wouldn't. He would never get fired.
No. Yeah, Georgia, as it currently stands, is too good for that. But I mean, yeah, it's probably a culmination of a lot of different things. It's like, all right, we've had complaints about you before. You're not a great coach. This is a great, I mean, from an AD's school standpoint, it's like, oh, this is a great way to get rid of a shit coach. Fire for cause, essentially. You've been warned. We've investigated you 3 times. See you later. We'll hire someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like cut and dry. Like, this is a very simple, no real complaints from anybody, sort of, except the guy. But
well, there were complaints. That's why he's gone. But yeah,
from after the firing, yes.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think I like to think Andrew Luck did this for the right reasons. I don't know if anyone agreed with him for the right reasons. I think Andrew Luck's an upstanding member of society.
Yeah.
He seems very friendly, so
he does. And
good
also,
for you, Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I mean, and also that what is that? The Captain Luck Twitter account is back.
Yes.
Sent out some great tweets. So he was back when it was announced, October last year or September last year, whatever it was. And everyone was pumped. And at least, I was, given that this is a college football podcast. So, it's great to see. Hoping they can get a brand new coach, maybe upset a few teams. Who knows?
Yeah. No, Andrew Luck comes out of retirement because he was never a coach, starts coaching for him.
Oh, that'd be great.
It would be perfect. But moving on to some lighter topics, Kieran, we have some spring game news. One of them I did not put on this topic sheet, but Alabama's announced for their spring game, they're just going to be doing a regular practice, free for fans, or like $25. And then you can get add-ons and stuff if you want. And then there's going to be autographs after. So someone within the Alabama University of Alabama is listening to this podcast because I said they needed to do something like that.
There you go.
Again, Kieran, we're fixing shit.
Yeah,
we should be hired for other stuff. But Mike Gundy actually had an interesting idea for Oklahoma State's spring game. He wants to revive Bedlam. He said we should do a home and home with OU in the spring, charge $25 a head. They can use it for NIL via Pistols Guys on Twitter. This is a terrible idea.
Oh.
This is such a bad idea.
Why do you say that?
I was big on do something for the fans, have some fun with it. There are guys still within both programs who were around for Bedlam. The idea is like, yeah, this is like a fun way to keep the rivalry alive. Ha ha. And then we'll get some NIL money out of it. Our fans will be happy until your star player gets his knee shredded because some fifth-year senior is pissed about the last time you guys played.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a terrible idea.
I like it in the sense that, yes, it would be fun to see some like chaos in a spring game practice, but you're absolutely right. This is a horrible idea. The only logical way you could make this work is that if both starting teams were just walk-ons, like just purely walk-ons, and so you save your guys, you just let them get a little bit of a little tete-a-tete, to start their the rivalry, so that like when and if you do play them during the season, now you've got guys fired up. This guy took out my knee, that that bastard, whatever.
Yeah,
and you just go after him. So
yeah,
but don't charge $25. Come on, like 10 max.
Yeah, I mean, how much would $25 a person get you at Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium? I'm just looking at capacity real quick.
I get you.
So it's 80,000 capacity. I think they actually might be able to fill it for this. For just this game. I mean, that'll be $2 million. So $1 million to each NIL fund. All right, I don't hate that idea as much anymore. But then again, that could get you like a 3-star with today's NIL.
It's true. So
who knows? I'm curious to see how these schools will keep going with their NIL recruiting tactics. But Kieran, without further ado, we've been talking about it. We're going to do NFL draft or NFL mock draft.
There we go.
And we didn't discuss how we're going to do this. Do you want to do like you do odds, I do evens, or we just each like discuss the picks and come to a consensus?
Ooh, I like the odds and evens way of doing things.
All right. Do you want odds or evens? Patriots have an even pick this year.
I'll do evens.
All right. I will do odds. And here's our draft board. All right. I got the number 1 pick, Kieran. You know who I'm taking. Jihad Campbell. No, I don't like how I have to search for him, but I think Will Levis has taken years off of Tennessee fans' lives, so we're not going to put them through that anymore. I think Cam Ward is the best quarterback in the draft. I think he has the arm to get it done. The Florida State game is concerning, not scoring a touchdown, but it's fine. We're also not doing trades, by the way. So, Kieran, who do you got the Browns taking?
I have the Browns. Sorry. I have the Browns. They also need a quarterback. With the recent trade news and all of that going around, they're a little bit, little bit weird or whatever, but I think they'll need something for someone to throw at. So you might as well get, I don't know, McMillan actually sounds pretty good. It's a high draft. Yeah. Might as well
McMillan
see over who?
Hunter. Interesting.
Yeah, because Hunt like it's that one of those situations where Hunter can play two ways, but McMillan is the guy you want to be a specialist, really.
That's fair.
I would here. I put it this way, right? If you were to give me the choice between what they need versus Travis Hunter at cornerback or wide receiver, I would prefer Travis Hunter as a cornerback than I would him as a receiver.
That's fair. With the third pick, I'm trying to decide if I just ruin what Kieran's trying to set up right now.
I'm not trying to set up anything.
Okay. I think this is actually objectively really difficult. I think this would be one of the ideal situations for Travis Hunter. He has said he's wanted to play both ways in the NFL. I think with Malik Neighbors in New York, I think that could be a really good landing spot. He could focus on corner while still being a receiver. But I also think pairing Abdul Carter with Brian Burns, you could learn a little bit from him, could be good. But I think New York needs a flashy guy, a flashy player. And I think all the other quarterbacks, this is way too much of a reach for right now. So I'm going to go with Travis Hunter.
Ooh.
Nikin, number 4.
All right. We talked about him endlessly on this podcast. We loved watching him on that ocean blue field they have up in Idaho. The Patriots need him. The Patriots want him. Give me Ashton Gianti. They need a running back. I mean, there's probably no better running back, I would argue, at least in terms of fun to watch than Ashton Gianti. So here we go.
I'm
flabbergasted.
If this happens, it does have team needs for the Jaguars being wide receiver, tight end.
Yeah.
Interior D lineman, safety. I think, though, if Abdul Carter falls to you at 5, you take him and you run as quickly as possible so they don't try to take your pick away.
That's fair.
You ignore team needs. If Abdul Carter's falling to 5, you go for Carter.
Mm-hmm. And I do feel bad for the Raiders here at 6 because I have seen most of the drafts I've seen in pseudo preparation for this was that Gianti's going to fall right here to the Raiders. I don't necessarily agree with that. Given the fact that I did stick him up at 4 with the Patriots. But the Raiders do need a bunch of help everywhere. So I'm actually going to take, hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Jahdae Barron, I think, cornerback out of Texas. He's not, in terms of the overall, draft, he's like 14.9 expected, but I think he could make, he could definitely help the Raiders secondary. God knows they need it.
That's fair. For the Jets, I think they need a quarterback, as do most of these teams up here.
Yeah.
But they struggle to keep their quarterbacks upright. They always have. I think they're going to take Armand Membu over Will Campbell. I think his athleticism will help him out a lot more. He's great in the run game. I think that will help Breece Hall kind of unlock that next level of abilities with him. So yeah, give me Membu. Not kidding. Here up with the Panthers. I have a pick that I would take, but I'm curious where you're going to go with this.
So I believe I saw a bunch of people putting Igbuka from Ohio State to go with Bryce Young God, I hope. And I think that's absolutely the right pick for a struggling offense in Carolina. So Egbuka's arguably one of the better receivers in this draft class. So I would put him there.
Okay.
Who are you going to pick in?
Tyler Warren.
Interesting. Okay. Got both pass protection and being able to route run.
Yeah, I think beneficial. I think Bryce Young, even though he came on late last year, he's still developing, becoming a good player. I think getting him a good tight end like that, who some people have compared to Rob Gronkowski, which is absurd. But I think it could be a good pick. The Saints. I'm trying to decide if I want to make a joke here or not.
Go on. We know nothing, remember, so let's just...
Yeah, I'm not going to make the joke. I'm going to save that joke.
All right.
But where is he? There's no like great running backs left. Cam Scatabo would be a reach, but it'd be hilarious. I'm not going to do that. I think D-line, Mason Graham sitting there this late. I think you got to take him there.
Yeah, see... Yeah, I agree with that, because if he was still hanging about at 10, I would have put him for the Chicago Bears. That's a good pickup. I would say that if you didn't have Mason Graham, you could kind of go for not a stretch, but certainly his counterpart in Kenneth Grant. So he's about the same height, a couple pounds more than Mason Graham, but there's no reason not to take him.
That's true. And also, I mean, the Bears have kind of put a premium on offense this offseason, so getting a guy like Grant at 10 is pretty good value for that pick, pretty helpful. I think now is finally the time, even with his stubby little arms, the T-Rex himself, Will Campbell. You have Trent Williams getting up there. You don't know what's going to happen with Brock Purdy. If you keep him, you're going to want to keep him upright. And there is talks. Maybe he will have to move to guard. That is another need for this team. I think he's a bit of a tweener, a little too big to play guard or to play tackle. Not big, but you know what I mean. And I think it'd be a good pick. You're up, Kieran.
All right. So the Cowboys need a lot, and they need it everywhere. But I'm looking at the fact that now this is not a stat related thing, but the amount of times I saw Dak Prescott get sacked last year was ungodly. So they need to fix something. So I'm thinking offensive line, I'm thinking guard, I'm thinking Tyler Booker of Alabama. See, I'm not too biased against Alabama that I won't pick them.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick.
Pleasantly surprised, I believe, is that face.
Yes, I would say that. He's fallen pretty far, but I think keeping Tua healthy should be the main point of focus for the Dolphins.
Seriously,
next season. So I'm going to, I think, go with Kelvin Banks out of Texas to keep that. Now, Kieran, I know I'm doing odds. You're doing evens. Can I pick for the Colts? And you can take any odd future.
Or do
you have an idea?
I know who I would want.
Okay,
I'm
just
hoping you're the same. No, I'm hoping you're the same, because I do want to see you pick. So I'm going to let you have this one, and I will pick something else.
We are not picking the same. I guarantee.
All right.
So
all right.
who do you want for the Colts?
All right. So I was going to go on the blue and white trend. Both teams are fairly close to each other. Tyler Warren.
Surprising he's lasted that long. The Colts would be over the moon if he falls to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think he will. I mean, tight ends are routinely overlooked in terms of first-round draft picks, but if last season is anything to go on, Tyler Warren is an absolute weapon no matter where he is on the field. And I still think he'll fall well down into the first round.
That's true. I was going to make a joke about how the Colts are unsure about Anthony Richardson. We know how much they love athleticism at the quarterback position, so they're going to take Jalen Milroe with the 14th overall pick.
Oh, boy.
But, all right, Falcons are on the clock. I think you got to go with the 6'3", 248-pounder out of Marshall, Mike Green. He's an athletic freak, tested extremely well at Marshall's pro day. He has the numbers to back it up. And I think Atlanta, they're just sort of there. They need a bit of a reputation, and I think getting a guy like Mike Green could give you the reputation of getting after the quarterback instead of the reputation of, yeah, we have all these really good skill players who just suck. So, Mike Green to Atlanta.
Well, the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken, were torched in the backfield last year fairly consistently. Now, I might be dead wrong, and that's me remembering things from like 5 years ago, but I digress. They need a cornerback this year. I'm going back to Michigan. I'm getting Will Johnson.
A lot of Michigan guys off the board for you here, dude.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's one of those things where it's a lot of consistently good players, and I don't mean that like other schools don't have them. I mean that in terms of the what's on the board, I would argue that Will Johnson is the best possible choice for Arizona at that pick. That's all.
That's fair. All right. Bengals, they're spending so much money on their offense. They need to go defense with this first pick. If they don't, they're idiots. I generally say pick the quarterback last once you have everything else in place. But the quarterback of the defense, you pick whenever he is available. I'm going to take Jihad Campbell to Cincinnati.
Good pick. Good pick. I like that a lot. Well, the Seahawks, as you can see by their needs, they need an offensive line. This is sort of a situation of the next best, but give me Jared Wilson out of Georgia. I think that would be the best use of a pick for the Seahawks in the draft. Now, whether they do that or not is, not up to me. They know far more about their organization than I do, but I think it'll be a good pick regardless.
A bit of a reach, I feel, but if you have the need and you fall in love with the player, I get it.
Yeah.
I think with Tampa, they're in a weird spot. I think they're always going to be pretty good. I don't know if their current makeup will make them ever great. I think getting after the quarterback will help. I think James Pierce at 19 average draft 22.6. I think that's unbelievable value for the Bucs, and I think that will kind of make them a little bit better of a team across the board and make them from that they're a team who's okay to they're a pretty good team. I don't really want to play them.
Sorry. Yeah. So what do we have? Broncos. So Broncos need a good amount kind of all over the place. I am going to go with a wide receiver for this particular pick. So give me Luther Burden the third out of Missouri.
That was going to be my pick. At first I thought I had them and I was like, oh, that's a pretty good pick.
Yeah.
Steelers. They're interesting. It does not matter what they do. They are going to make it to the playoffs, regardless of what's going on around them. I think they could get away with picking a running back here. I think they couldn't really get away with a quarterback. There's none that I would take this high. Josh Simmons out of Ohio State is great, but I do think Malachi Starks, off that Georgia defense, he has the pedigree. He's a phenomenal playmaker. I think he will pair well with Minka Fitzpatrick and give them a kind of dynamic safety duo.
That's a good point. I have got a little bit of a toss-up between the wide receiver and the tight end position for the Chargers. At this point, a lot of the wide receivers would have been taken by now. Certainly Tyler Warren was a pick I had earlier. So I would, this is probably going to be where things start reaching. But I'm going to go with Matthew Golden out of Texas for the Chargers.
It's fair. Give the what if man, Justin Herbert, some more weapons.
There you go.
All right. So there's, like you said, there's no real receivers left that I would take here. Someone's probably screaming that there. I do like Elick Manor, but that's just because of CFB 25 because he transferred to Kent State and I needed him back. But the Packers don't take receivers in the first round. I do think I don't really know much about Donovan Eziraku, or however you pronounce that. So I don't think I'm going to take him. I think Michael Williams, that's the guy I was looking for. Edge out of Georgia, could have been the first edge off the board. He is a phenomenal talent. He's got the size for it. And yeah.
All right. So this is where the Vikings will need some defensive help, especially on the defensive line. I think the big man out of Ole Miss, Walter Nolan, I mean, he's enormous. He's 6'3", 305, giving me Vince Wilfork vibes. But I think it'll be a much needed support for that Vikings front four.
Bring back the purple people eaters.
Yeah, why not?
I don't hate the move. The Texans, CJ Stroud just had a big step back this year. They did just lose their number one receiver. I think guys like Trey Harris, like Jaden Higgins is going to be a reach here. I think you just go Josh Simmons. You shore up that offensive line after trading Laramie Tunsil earlier in the offseason and kind of see if you can get CJ Stroud back to form.
It's a good pick. So as we're getting towards the end of the picks here, the Los Angeles Rams could make a bit of a stretch here at linebacker, but give me Jalen Walker out of Georgia.
I feel like scrolling for him.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's a good
like
pick.
he has the sort of like gritty inside linebacker type mentality coming out of Georgia that could be massively beneficial to that Chargers. Jesus, the Rams defense.
They both play in LA. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Part of me wants to go guard here, but there's no real guards left that I'm super interested in. So I think I'm just going to go Shamar Stewart. Him over Donovan. I'm not trying to pronounce his name again. I did it once. I failed. Call it SEC bias. Call it what you want. I think Shamar Stewart is a phenomenal player, and I think he'll be good for the Ravens. Lions up next, Kieran.
All right. So I think he's fallen much further than he would have expected himself. God, I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce that last name, but Donovan out of BC. I want to say Ezer Akura.
There's no R, but maybe it's probably closer to mine. No, you said Cora. Yeah, you said Cora. Like that was my contention.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. I was whatever.
That's a good pick. I like that pick. This might be a bit of a hot take.
Oh,
not a hot take, but the the Commanders have killed quarterbacks in the past. They literally almost killed Alex Smith with his leg injury. RG3, they ended his career, and now he's posting weird stuff on social media. It says they need a guard. They don't necessarily need extensive tackle. Give me Gray Zabel. He is 6'5". He's huge. He's a big boy. He's strong. He's good in the run, good in the pass. I think you could move him over to guard, keep him at tackle if you want. Keep Jaden Daniels healthy. I've said it since last year. He plays like Wile E. Coyote. He is going to die.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. So I know the Buffalo Bills have been moving a bunch of their roster around, and based on the needs, anybody on defense will do. I would take Malik Williams out of. Actually, I want to correct that. Not Malik Williams. Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M.
He went at 27.
Oh, he did? Oh, sorry, I didn't even read that.
I took it 27.
I completely missed that. Anyway, I'll take Malik Williams then. Michael Williams.
I took him at 23.
My God. I'm out of
Stealed all Kieran's picks.
I know. All right. Can't swear on this podcast anymore. I completely missed that. I swear to God, I thought I drafted. I'm kind of drafting the same as you, and I guess I missed that entirely. My bad. All right. Well, if I can't have either of those two, at least give me Stewart's teammate, Nick Scrouton.
Okay, that's fair. Another Texas A&M edge. It's fine. This is my problem, though, still. With the Chiefs, there's no real guard or tackle that I would want, but they need to replace Tooney. They need to shore up that offensive line. Otherwise, Patrick Mahomes is going to get killed. So we'll just get a running mate for Chris Jones and take Derek Harmon. Big boy out of Oregon. He is 21. It feels weird with all the current players coming out being 24, but 21, good age, fills a need, if not the main need. All right, Kieran, final pick.
All right. The Super Bowl winning Eagles will draft Xavier Restrepo, because this is a joke already. And it's not like they need another wide receiver. And why not?
Analyzing the draft, Kieran. Let's see our grades.
F.
I can do this on my phone. Oh, I'm not getting anything done at work tomorrow. All right. Full results. Okay. Is it going to give me my grades? What the heck? It doesn't give grades. All right. Anything shocking about our mock draft?
Apart from my last pick, I think most people would disagree with everything.
I think Tet at 2 was a choice.
Wait, sorry? Which one?
I think Tet McMillan at 2.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I think we're both going to be very wrong.
Oh, 100%. We're going to be nowhere close.
But
It's
I like
fun.
my picks. I'm happy with my picks.
I'm actually happy with my picks too, apart from the fact that I completely forgot that you had drafted 2 of the edge rushers before. I swear to God, I thought I got them down, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah. But that was a good time.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Anything else you want to cover tonight, Kieran, before we go?
No, I think we're good. We'll find out what happens at the NFL draft in a month, I think it's from now.
Yeah, it's the end of April 26th through the 29th, maybe.
Perfect.
we're a college podcast. I don't need to know when the draft is. I just need to be able to talk about it, which some would say I did not do well. But it's fine. Everyone have a good, safe, fun rest of your week and weekend. We're another week closer to college football coming back. Thank God. Be sure to follow us at Quad Tailgate across social media, except Tailgate and the Quad on Facebook. Check out our YouTube, where you're probably watching this, Tailgate and the Quad. And also wherever you get your podcasts. Also check out Belly Up Sports. They're great. They let us say these absurd things, and they don't yell at us that often for it. So, all right. Goodbye.
See ya.
They're eating the dogs, Kieran, in Tuscaloosa.
They're eating the
you
dogs.
know that?
They were
They're
eating
the dogs.
Oh, a meth raccoon.
Yeah.
Just awful. There is nothing good about this. It's the worst possible scenario for the CFP, for the national championship.
Notre Dame is a mid-program with really good marketing.
And the Michigan players are going to look at that, and anybody who's committing to Michigan in the next years will just go, I want to beat them even more. Like, I wanted to beat them when I first came to the school. Recruits are going to see this.
And we're also sorry that you have to watch a Brian Kelly coach football team. We can only imagine how difficult that must be for you, knowing that you're not going to win a big game ever with him as your coach, and that you're rooting for a child murderer.
This podcast has gone off to a really weird start, but I like it.
I love it, though. I'm a big fan.